second. Fucking stress. Good morning, America. I've been racing back to get to you in time for the markets open. I wasn't quite successful in that. Look, just before the open, there was a buy below prior bar low, and so I bought down here. Market went a little bit against me, but it's basically just an attempt to buy some support, as seen over here. Do you see that? Do you see that low here? I basically just bought right there, and the same over here. Sort of attempted to taking a chance, but thinking, okay, should I buy down here or should I just try and buy at the open? And I chose just to buy at the open. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I'm live across the board. So I haven't had an opportunity to set this up for the US because I've been away. But I think you are going to like this. Because I now have numbers on the charts, and I've programmed an attempt at the overnight range. So I think I'm just going to close these. 1 second. I want to show you the overnight range here as well. Right, so now we have an even playing field, and we can see what we might be able. You will unfortunately hear me eat a little bit because I just came back from training and I am very hungry. I will mute the mic. So the programmer has now programmed in bars. Let me show you, say the DAX. Get an appreciation for it. And voila. Oh, where are they? There they are. So we have got some new modules in this software. Transactions, Market Explorer module. Not all of these I am entirely familiar with yet, because I only took delivery of it this morning. But this thing here, I think is pretty neat with these bars, because it will enable me to say, hey, look at bar number 37. And so we took out a leaf out of Al Brooks's way of doing it by only doing every other. So if I said bar number 14, well, you'll know, okay, 13, 15, so it's the one in between. So we're not inundating ourselves with too many numbers. So I really like that for our educational purpose. It makes it so much easier to identify the bars that I want to talk about, rather than me trying to frantically point and then get rid of this bar here so that the crosshair doesn't. So I look at bar 59, look how it goes below bar. Say this bar here, see how it goes below this bar here. Now I can just say, look at 59 goes below 55. That's a buy below prior bar low in a strong uptrend kind of scenario. So I really like that, and I can also do it on a different time scale. I think I can go all the way out to 30 minutes, but an hour, it doesn't support an hour, which I'm absolutely fine with. So yeah, that's really nice. But of course, America, it will only start counting for when the point that America opens. Another thing that we developed, we got. I think I'll have to go through this one by one, but here we go. I'm sitting here looking at the PDF that has. I haven't read through the PDF in its entirety yet, but I'm a little bit excited about it because I think it's a beautiful piece of kit that we are developing. So this new options are available. So there you go. So this is a free charging package. We placed it on top of the TD platform, and it acts as an extension. So it sits as an extension on top of the software. So anyway, that's that. I'll put that over there, and let's see what we can make of it today. Someone said that I'm making them hungry. I swear to you, my friend, you really don't want to eat what I'm eating, because it ain't pleasant. It looks like sewer sludge. It addresses a very specific bodily need, but whoever made this ain't gonna is not gonna win prizes for aesthetics nor taste. Ha! So personally, on a next update, what I would like to have is I think what, and I hope the developers listening in, but imagine that you had a box up here that you can sort of get highlighted and then moved away. But imagine you have a up here a key ingredients box, and I think that that should be tendered out to ideas amongst the users. But personally, I could see things like, okay, what's the high of the day? What's the low of the day? I know that we have those already, like here. But I could see an advantage in having open, high, low, close. Maybe we could also have the current 20 period moving exponential average, not as a line, but just as a number here. I don't know if it's possible. It could also begin to give us alerts saying, look, today is a Tuesday, and we are currently trading above the highs of Friday and Monday. So therefore, we should be looking for longs only. Not necessarily in such a long-winded sentence, but in perhaps in reference points. And okay, so far, and I don't know what the computing capabilities and the skills of the programmer is, but I have a shitload of ideas that I would love to be able to implement on I say our software, because it is a community software. It is developed for all of us who love to trade with TD because of their tight spreads. Not necessarily because of their not so modern platform, but because it's tight fixed spreads, and that's what we are attracted to. But then to have everything at our fingertips in a box, and I imagine that there are many of you who are watching who will have ideas of your own of what you would like to have. It could be things like, all right, we got to 2 bear candles off the open. Let's consider being buyers below prior bar low, or a million other things that we pick up from Al Brooks and Brad and Rose and the Tims, that we could somehow build in here ideas of our own. Another thing that we could consider would be, the technique that I use called the fishing technique. Excuse me. So let me give you an example of a fishing technique. I'll just go back to a prior day. So say, for example, that say that this bar here was okay. That bar there closes. It was one of those where it goes above prior bar high, but then it closes below prior bar low. Would it be a nice idea to have a box that says we have an outside bar that is now closed on a 10-minute? Things like that I could see as a tool to help us in our decision making. Another thing could be that depending on whether it's able to monitor different time frames than the one we are currently observing in, but would it be possible to be able to say, okay, oops, did I just manage to move that box? Right. Would it be possible to have a facility that says we have here, this is the lowest bar, and we are now closed. We closed above the high of the lowest bar. That constitute a fishing technique, a fishing signal. Would be fantastic if it could somehow alert us, saying, okay, but you actually got a fishing technique here, but on a 30-minute chart. It would probably require an enormous amount of coding, and I'm probably being unreasonable. But I think it could be a rather community-driven piece of software that caters for the things that we find important. Yeah. Anyway. So here's a daily chart of the Dow. Okay, so we're beginning to get signals coming in. So we got the aggressive school run coming in now. We got our first bar positive in the Dow, and we're now trading below that bar. That is bearish, and aggressive school run has triggered a short signal. I am unsure what happens if I click on this. Does it come in as an order, or will just trade it? I suspect it will trade it. Yeah. The fact that you'll often hear me say that if the US is selling off, but Europe is not participating in it, I always get suspicious. But let me show you the FTSE. It is most certainly participating in it. There's the software kicking in. So bar number 83 in the FTSE is down towards the low end of the range. And in approximately 5 minutes, we were going to get a school run bar. And currently, that would look as follows. and it's most certainly within, it is, if I draw the overnight box, to get rid of this temporarily, you sort of get an idea of what the overnight market is doing. I think it's interesting to consider market giving in below 19,657, which is a support area down here. And I'll show you the overnight box in the Nasdaq. There we go. Stand by for a short position in the Dow. I'm selling above prior bar high. I want to show you on a 10-minute chart as well. Oh, I'm a little bit late to, no, I have to do. I'm going to use a 200-point stop loss to begin with. I don't actually want to use a 200-point stop loss. Over in the FTSE, notice how bar 84 just went above bar 83 high. That tends to be a classic sell signal if it's in a downtrend, and that is certainly an established downtrend. We have no news coming out. We have some news out of Canada, but that's not pertaining to the US markets. I wouldn't say I was convinced that the Nasdaq or the Dow had hit a really important low. Actually, Nasdaq, yes. Dow, no, not so far. So the Nasdaq looks set to close near the lows of the 15-minute bar, and you'll see that's taking place outside the overnight range. standby for a short here. The low was at 662. So if I show you the school run short, comes in here. So shorted. I've shorted the Nasdaq right at the lows, knowing full well that there is a risk of just hit a major support area on the 4-hour chart, but we will see. So the Nasdaq is finding buyers below prior bar low. Dow didn't make it down there. So it'll be interesting now because the the Nasdaq went above the high of bar 5, which was a breakdown bar, and we're interesting to see if this is the beginning of establishing a trading range, with this being the high and the most recent lows being the low. The Dow has done the same, but after 2 bull bars, and is now pulling back above the high of bar number 7. In about a minute's time, I'll see if the Nasdaq is able to close above bar number 3 on the 10-minute. That would make me think that this market is not ready to go down. And the same in the Dow. And I would close my short positions. So I want to take my loss in the Nasdaq. And I want to take my loss in the Dow. I'll do a full screenshot after. Close Dow and Nasdaq shorts. So the Dow is triggering a long signal now above 935 on a school run long. I will take that. Nasdaq has a little way to go before doing that. The risk, of course, here is that this was just the intention all along was to get back into the range, to draw liquidity. Not entirely implausible, but I will stand true to my my technique, so I will go long. I imagine that the Dow will at least see 981 or maybe 41,064, depending on how much this is going to wrong foot the market. I'm going to add to the Dow here. I see there's a typo on my first Dow entry in Telegram. I'll amend it now. Okay, so that's the first objective in the Dow. So now it's a question of what do you want to bet on? Do you want to bet on more momentum? We're back into the overnight range. Yesterday closed up here. Nasdaq is also trying to make it back into the range, but it's actually not succeeding. Just excuse me for 1 minute. I'm not sure whether I should bet on a big reversal. You'll see Nasdaq coming up to triggering a school run long. I'll show you there. DAX seems to believe in it. Look at this mother of a bar, 88. Pooh. Big push higher. Nasdaq has triggered a long signal in school run. Stand by. I'm going to add to my Dow. I'm closing everything in the Dow for about 130 odd points profit. Excuse me. I'm adding to my Nasdaq. Okay, I'm gonna run these, and I'll leave you in peace. I want to play around with this software behind the scenes. It's a beautiful kit. Thanks a lot for your patience this morning. I was actually playing with my new toy. Let's see where this could take us. I'm not streaming on Wednesday. I want to actually take that time for myself and get to know this software really well. This is going very well. Be mindful of a double top here at 8:20. Love you lots, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It was fun. It was a nice example of flipping the switch, I think, and it worked well. So take care, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.